This viral little video is really revealing. So this old lady was sending a text during a basketball game saying that a lot of crazy Hispanic fans. How can they afford it? And of course, the comment section is filled with all the Hispanics posting their pictures at the same game. Pretty fun. I want to talk a little about the political economy behind this little text. Without any investigation, you can probably tell who that lady voted for in all three recent presidential elections, right? How do you know? I'm not talking about racism. Okay, Democrats can be racist too. I'm talking about a specific kind of economic reasoning that makes a person MAGA. I think political scientists and economists should really study this a little bit more. The text implies that her attention was not so much on the fun of watching the game. What keeps her at the edge of her seat is how people from other communities dare to afford it. And that is probably reflected in her voting behavior. A person can be racist but still refrain from voting for Trump because they may be afraid of all the economic consequences from tariffs, ICE violence, insider tradings, blatant corruptions. But this lady obviously doesn't mind those because none of those pains her as much as the happiness of other communities. Imagine if someone tells the lady, look, if you vote for me, I can make these people broke. The whole economy may suffer a little bit, and you may suffer a little bit too, but I promise you those people will suffer more. Of course, she's gonna say yes. She's probably well off enough to not worry about a little bit of economic shocks. So she chooses candidates based on their destructive power. And of course, who can do sabotage better than Donald? So her choice is obvious. It's not even irrational. I call this kind of voting behavior revenge voting. Some people use it to punish other racial groups. Some straight people use it to punish LGBT. Some men use it to punish women in general. Is that irrational? Not necessarily. These voters did not get tricked. They knew what was going to happen. They knowingly and strategically pay an economic price to satisfy their psychological need for revenge. It's not much different from buying tickets to watch people punch each other. Except this punch is done by the government to the vulnerable groups. It's not that these voters' reasoning is wrong. They have sound logic. But the psychological starting point of their logic is different from the rest of us. They don't form their voting strategies around how to fill their own pockets. They focus on how to empty other people's pockets. Unfortunately, revenge voting is pretty common. I don't know enough psychology to know where it came from deep down, but I can tell it's all over the place. That, I think, also explains the billionaires' almost unanimous political choice. Of course, Donald could help them with their tax cuts, but I don't think that's what really motivates them. Like, what's the difference between having $200 billion and $300 billion? I doubt Elon would stay awake at night thinking about his tax cuts. No. What the rich incels can't handle is the fact that some people who don't have money actually turned out happy. They can't swallow how these ragged peasants have better relationships, better friendships, and better artistic expressions than they do. That's like thorns in their eyes. And who can help them solve that problem? It has to be Donald. Who but Donald can drive up the nation's collective anxiety and make happy, lighthearted people no longer happy and lighthearted? So Trump delivered without delay. He immediately sank the mental state of people like me into dark abyss the moment he took office. Holy shit. Promise made, promise kept. Fucking A. I bet every Trump voter would be so thrilled if they could see up close how much I was internally damaged by his presidency. I don't want to admit this to give them the satisfaction, of course, but it's the truth. What can I say? I'm a truthful person. By the way, the revenge politics is also present in the far left, except their preferred target for revenge is a little different from the far right. I was debating with someone about China's inequality. I was trying to tell people China actually has a higher Gini coefficient than Western countries. Some folks were like, well, at least they execute billionaires. Wait, what? How does that have anything to do with solving inequality? In fact, the abuse of the death penalty always hurts the poor more than it hurts the rich. But some far-left homies hate the rich so much they would rather take their chances in a scary legal system as long as some rich people get the guillotine. So the far-left revenge is like pulling down the ladder in front of them, while the far-right revenge is like kicking down the ladder behind them. I don't think either approach is constructive, but what do I know? I'm just a boring liberal waiting for incremental progress while sitting on my ass telling stupid jokes. Sometimes MAGA and the far left can find some common ground, probably because they both find people like me super annoying and deserving some kind of punishment. I don't know. So the million-dollar question is, what kind of policy can make everyone happy? Well, economic growth itself doesn't cut it because it doesn't satisfy the revenge psychology. But any policies that have a strong punitive effect on a large group probably are not good for the overall economy. You can't expect the economy to march forward while a lot of people lose their jobs and their purchasing power. It means the normal economic pragmatism and the MAGA economic revanchism are just incompatible. It's one or the other. It's a zero-sum game that both sides can't win at the same time. Sorry, but it's true. Reconciliation is possible in the long run if most MAGA voters find their life purposes and no longer focus on revenge. But in the short run, it's a zero-sum game. You have to take a side. Do you want revenge or do you want a better economy? Do we prefer enjoying sport events with people from other communities, or do you prefer crashing the economy to keep them out? You have to make a choice.